Hometown Hero, sponsored by Rotolo Chevrolet.
And welcome back, everybody. Time now for our Jaime Maggio, who is joining us with a look at this week's edition of Hometown Hero.
This is a good one, you guys. Thank you. It is a tremendous achievement for any athlete to represent their country in the Olympics. And to be named a flag bearer for your country, well, that's an even greater honor. The list is full with inspirational stories, including the South Bay's very own Cliff Meidl. I sat down with him to learn more about how he overcame tragedy to reach the grandest stage in all of sports. Cliff Meidl was an American speed kayaker competing in 2 Olympics, including the 2000 games when he was honored as the United States flag bearer.
I remember standing there at first when I was ready to walk into the stadium and looking over my shoulder, and the only thing I could see was a sea of red, white, and blue. It was the entire United States delegation behind me.
Probably the greatest honor an athlete can have is wearing the red, white, and blue and representing your country, but then to actually hold the flag has to be something completely different.
You know, when I found out, I was overwhelmed by joy and everything, and then walking into the opening ceremonies, you know, here I was carrying the flag, and I remember standing there, and there was a lady that was saying, "Okay, Cliff, get ready, Team USA," and I was about maybe 20 feet ahead of all the athletes, and I was so nervous. I was so proud to be in that position and have that opportunity, and I'm so proud to be able to be an American representing my country.
But Cliff's Olympic dreams almost didn't come true. At the age of 20, Cliff nearly died. What happened with the accident? How did it happen?
So I was working on a construction site, and I ended up jackhammering into some power lines, and I received a severe electrical shock, and I had massive exit wounds on my back of the head, toes, but most of the damage was to both my left and right knee compartments. I had about 1/3 of the knee bone burned away. So initially I ended up having a cardiac arrest, and you know, I was able to overcome that. You know, amputation had kind of circled around. It was a big topic of conversation, and of course my mother was at the helm at the time, and when she heard the news that they were going to do an amputation, she was very persistent on meeting my lifesaver, Dr. Malcolm Lesavoy at UCLA, and he came into the picture and was able to design a process where we were hoping at the time that I'd be able to save the legs.
What was the process?
Well, I had a big gaping holes on both left and right knee compartments, so essentially you just can't cover those areas with skin. So Dr. Lesavoy was able to take my calf muscles and basically disconnect them and flop them up on top of my knees, and he saved my legs from amputation doing that.
While there was a solution to help Cliff physically, he still had plenty of work to do mentally.
And ultimately, you know, Dr. Lesavoy noticed that, you know, I was becoming depressed and all of that, and he approached me and he said, "Listen, Cliff, you know, I've done my 50%. It's time for you to drive up that rest of the equation." And basically what he was talking about is that he did the medical portion of it. Now it was up to me to drive up the will, the determination, and the belief that you can actually get through a difficulty and adversity. A lot of times, you know, when we go through hardship, we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we have to believe in the hope. And he really lit that flame of hope in my heart that just maybe I might be able to walk again, and he kind of set that in stone.
Part of that process included Cliff finding an outlet for his athletic and competitive nature. How did you first find yourself in a kayak?
I couldn't run anymore and do sports, but I needed a venue to go to. I needed a place of acceptance, you know, a place of belonging. And my brother Norman got me involved back paddling outrigger canoes in Redondo Beach, which was, I mean, one of the most incredible places to go. You know, I was a guppy. I didn't really know how to paddle very well, but, you know, I learned and I befriended other people and I got involved in a process. And ultimately that sense of belonging really allowed me to channel that fuel that I needed to get through that adversity. You know, seeing people like Greg Barton, a famous U.S. Olympic athlete, you know, that had adversities himself, you know, that and overcame and became an Olympic champion, and you get inspired by that, and that's how I kind of got involved in Olympic sprint kayaking. I have all the signatures of the firefighters that have saved my life.
Now Cliff shares his story as a motivational speaker. What are you hoping to accomplish when you share your story and your journey?
Don't compare yourself against other people, right? You don't want to do that. You want to be the best that you can be, and you want to be able to get through this adversity and find out what makes you tick and what are your skill sets that can make you better than you are today and make you springboard to further success. And I always like to inspire people out there to be the best that they can be and believe in yourself and have the hope that you can get through it no matter how difficult the hardship is.
I mean, What an incredible human being. You know, when I think about life, right, and you come to these forks in the road where your life can go one direction or another. It was his mom who fought to avoid the amputation. It was getting that doctor who could actually save his legs and then give him the hope that he'd be able to walk again. Then it was his brother that said, no, you've got to get out there. You've got to push yourself. You've got to get into the physical training. And then to end up competing in the Olympics, to be a flag bearer, and presently Cliff does motivational speaking and safety awareness with construction companies. It could have been so different for him had not had those people in his life at certain junctures to help get him on a positive path.
Really amazing. We sit here and I know we all have goosebumps on after you did that wonderful job with that. It makes you think about hope and faith.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of times when people ask me, what do you mean when you say keep the faith? That's what I mean right there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was moving. I was stunned while watching it, and again, the turnaround, the turnaround, it could have been a lot worse. And for him to basically maximize all that potential and hope and people pouring into him to get to the Olympics and bear the flag, as you said, is remarkable.
Just an incredible story. Yeah. I loved the conversation with him.